excuses that slow us down. Excuses can really hinder progress in different aspects of our lives, be it our personal growth, be it our businesses, our academics, so many aspects of our lives can be affected by the excuses that we give. And acknowledging those excuses is always the first step for us even to move towards proactive actions against them. And for you to discover this, of course, it takes a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-awareness, so that you know what excuses do I keep giving that work against me, And then once you've acknowledged these excuses, you're able to make proactive steps towards your goals and seeing how you can actually achieve them. So let's look at some of those excuses. Maybe we give them without even knowing, so that we know we can be able to identify them. Once you find yourself giving that excuse over and over, you can try now to get into the root of that and see, why do I always keep saying this? Why don't I do this? Let's get into it. The first excuse is that I don't have enough time. This is maybe one of the biggest excuses we give for something. But the question to ask is, that thing that you're making excuses for, is it a priority to you? Because if it's not, it makes sense then why we would say we don't have enough time. Yeah. You look at some of the people that we admire and you see how their life is structured, their body's goals, their meals are prepped, everything just seems to be good and working out. But because they have prioritized those things, maybe the nature of their job requires them to be in that kind of order. But the bottom point is that they have prioritized those things, right? So because they have prioritized them, they squeeze time in for them. If you look at the example of reading, it's not that someone has all the time on their hands to read, but it's because they've learned how to utilize those little pockets of minutes in between, maybe breaks, 2 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Accumulatively, that becomes like 20 minutes of reading a day, which is better than nothing, right? So really ask yourself if that thing that you are saying you don't have enough time for is a priority to you. Because if it's not, then it makes sense why you would say that. And if it is, you have to squeeze time. I'm sure there are 10 minutes somewhere that you use just to sit and browse the internet. Maybe you can use that time to do that thing. I'll do it tomorrow. Isn't that another excuse that we give for something? And I have come across this concept that has been such a game changer for me, the 2-minute rule. What that means is if something takes you less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. Because sometimes we procrastinate things that can really be sorted out really fast and you forget about them. I'm not a person who has always enjoyed making phone calls, but I have learned that some phone calls can last for like a minute, 2 minutes, and you're done. So I don't postpone phone calls that can really take that short time to get done with. But I'm very mindful because I know there are some of my friends who, when they call me, I'm busy, so I might have to postpone that call because I know that call can go on for hours. I set aside time for that. That's just an example. What small tasks do you think you can complete in less than 2 minutes? Procrastination leads to a lot of unproductivity because today it's one thing, tomorrow something else, the next day the same. So by the end of the week, you realize you have a couple of things that need to be sorted and you now even feel lazy to do them. That's how I'll do it tomorrow excuse comes to play. You push one thing, you push the next one, and it becomes a whole mess. Yeah. And also, we can procrastinate because the task is big. So how about you break it down to small chunks that you can, sort within a few minutes and get done with. That's another hack for you to not feel overwhelmed by the size of a task. Break it down and then do the smaller chunks one by one. I'm not good enough is another excuse. And there's an imposter syndrome undertone in this excuse, and it communicates a lot of self-doubt and fear. And those feelings make you overthink that you are not the right person and someone else can do it better than you. And I want you to know that sometimes this is just a big lie from the enemy. Being a believer, honestly, I now know, and having been a person who has struggled with this imposter syndrome, not once, not twice, severally, I know that this is a big lie from the enemy, because remember that you starting what you're doing, you did not go and pick it from someone else and start doing it. You felt the urge to begin it, yeah, and you are the appointed person, as in it's you who started that thing. You are the one who wanted to start that business, meaning that you are confident of yourself when you're starting, but towards the journey, as somewhere along the journey you start feeling like you're not adequate, you're not good enough for it. That's an imposter syndrome undertone in that excuse. So it's very important to understand that this is just a lie from the enemy. And I'm directing this message especially to people who know that they're living in their purpose. They're living out the life they know that they were made to live and still struggle with these feelings. Just understand that it's not you. That's the enemy trying to confuse you so that you can move out of your purpose, so that you cannot live exactly how God designed for you to live. An action step for that would be making sure you surround yourself with people who speak positively and people who are there to hold you accountable, to support you, and still tell you the truth, yes, tell you where you need to improve, but still encourage you and push you to do better. Yeah, focusing on your strength is another thing that can help you overcome that. Reflect and see the things that you've achieved in life, and let that be an encouragement to you and help you see that you can actually do it. You've done it before, and this should not be the last time you're doing it. So that's how you address self-doubt whenever you feel like you're not the right person, that you're not good enough to do something. You are the best person for that job. Just counter those thoughts with a lot of positivity and the right people surrounding you. I'm afraid of what others will think about it. Isn't this one of the deep-seated insecurity in most of us? We think, oh, what will my friends say? We are really worried about what people will say about the things we do. But imagine people are less concerned about your life, because everyone is trying to make a life for themselves. People are trying to get by, so they have less time to focus on you. It's in your head. That fear of what people think, it's usually in your head. But these people are so busy pursuing their careers and other things. Of course, I'm talking about those people who are focused, because I also acknowledge that there are people who mostly sit behind the keyboard and to troll people and write all these negative feedback on people's posts. That's another group that should be addressed, but that's not our focus. Our focus is on what others that surround us will say. Yeah, you have to understand that these people who are surrounding you, your friends, your family, these people are focusing on their journeys. I mean, the economic times we are living in require that people are out there doing something for themselves, so people have less time to focus on what you're doing. Also understand that you cannot please everyone. Yeah, do what is a priority to you, something you feel you are aligned with. Whatever you feel is within your line of work, within your purpose, do that and focus on that. People will not always like what you're doing. Not everyone will celebrate you. Have that in the back of your mind and understand that you cannot please everyone. There's someone who will sort the need of someone else. There's always someone to sort someone else's need. So you don't have to feel like you are responsible for everyone's excitement or fulfillment. No, get that out of your mind and focus on what is a priority to you. And that's so important, because you got to understand that you have to be your biggest supporter. When everyone else doesn't celebrate you, you have to have that inner motivation, that inner strength. That is what will sustain you. That is what will keep you in the long haul. There's something that someone told me, that if other people are marketing you more than you're marketing yourself, there's a problem. So you see, that calls for you to be really out there pushing for what you're doing, sharing, and knowing that there will be rejects somewhere in the journey, knowing that not everyone will accept what you're offering, and that's part of the process. Try also to change your mindset to think that, wow, I get to bring this, I get to bring my service or my value to the world. That really shifts how you think about things and see the value that you create. Yeah, think of yourself as someone who is adding value in the lives of people. You get to serve people. You get to live out the dream that God placed in your hands. So you are the best person for it. Don't worry about what people think. There is a certain group of people that you are meant to serve. I don't have the resources. That's another excuse we give so many times. But I want you to focus on being resourceful rather than having the resources. What resourcefulness does is you look around, what do I have in my hands? Who do I have in my corner? Who can I utilize? What can I bring to the table with the little that I have? Yeah, so that I can use that to build and, like propel myself for the next step. If you need to get into a certain field, people who are in that field, or not, someone who knows someone who is in that field. So literally there's so much around us for us to give the excuse of, I don't have resources. Be resourceful. Figure out how you can be resourceful. Think about your friends, think about the tools that you have, think about the gifts that God has given you, what does not require money, at least at that time, and use them. Yeah, use them. And sometimes it takes patience for you to see results, especially when the resources are limited. So that's something else that you need to work on. Know that, yes, I have these limited resources. I'll start with this. I'll start using this, but I need to be patient to see them multiply and bring in, money, bring in partners, and so much more. Start where you are. Be resourceful. I don't know how to. This is an excuse that we should not be giving in this day and age, because there are materials out there. There is the YouTube University. You guys, everything is there. Everything about how to operate systems, how to use different tools, everything, the Excel, everything is on the YouTube, guys. So there's really no excuse for us not learning. Rarely will you miss anything you want on YouTube. You'll find it. Let me give an example. When I was buying this phone, I bought the phone that I use my phone to record the YouTube videos. And when I bought it, I remember I was torn between this and another option. And let me tell you, I went and Googled, and Google was not doing it for me. So I went to YouTube and compared. Imagine there is a whole video. Of course, I had to go deep into the search. I think I found it on what day, but yeah, I found the difference between this phone I'm using and the other one, and hence I picked this one. So my point is, there's always an answer for what you are looking for. Yeah, so don't say you don't know how to. Ask someone to recommend a video for you. There's always a way we can learn. It's not the right time. This is another excuse we give, and remember that the more we give this excuse, the more we are missing out on so many opportunities. So many. I think people who lean on this excuse are mostly fearful. And that fear of starting something, that fear of just the initial step, that is a valid fear. But the question is, when do you think is the right time? When do you think you'll be ready for it? In as much as timing is important for the things that we engage in, it's also important to understand that taking a small step is better than waiting for the perfect time for us to start something when everything is aligned. For example, we talked about resources. We talked about not knowing how to. Timing is good, but start somewhere. Start with the few resources you have. Start with the few ideas you have, and then build on it as you go. Yeah. So timing is important, but the longer you wait, the more you're missing out on opportunities to collaborate, for ideas. So think about that. It's too late now. That's an excuse that you give. It's too late. You feel like time has ran out and you don't have the time to start that thing that you want to start. Let me assure you that there are millions of people who have begun projects and businesses in their old age. I think it's the KFC guy, who started at a very old age, and he's actually a big name right now, right? I challenge you, go on the internet and just search names of people who have started businesses late in life, and you'll be amazed at how many examples you get. I'm not even being specific on what kind of business, because I know you'll find a ton of names. So that really should not be an excuse. And also look at it this way: when you start something later in life, you come with so much maturity, like intellectual maturity, so you know how to make the right decisions. You are not wasting time on things that will not amount to something, right? And also because you feel that pressure of time, it means you will dedicate your effort. You'll really be committed to make that thing a success. Just have that mindset as well. I'm too tired. That I know I speak for everyone when I say that excuse. Well, it's an excuse and at the same time it's a legit concern. But the question is, if you are often feeling tired, every time you're tired to do something, then there is an underlying issue. Maybe it's the diet, maybe it's your physical activity that is not there. Maybe it's something you need to do. You need to challenge yourself and see, why am I always tired? Yeah, maybe you're not getting enough sleep. Think about that. Being tired is an excuse, but it's legit, but you need to understand why. Why are you always tired if that's the case? A kind reminder, when you are pursuing your passion or something that you love to do, and you're always giving the excuse of being tired, it can really lead to your downfall when it comes to that endeavor. So it's very important to address that issue of tiredness so that you can pursue the things that you love to do with a lot of energy and a very sober mind, show up wholly for that activity. I'll wait till I feel motivated. Motivation is good, but just ask yourself this: what would happen if most people gave the excuse of waiting for motivation to come? Think about that coffee that you love to get in the morning, or that joint you love to go to in the evening and buy something to bite. Imagine if those people who are serving there, the attendants, they decide to open that shop only when they are motivated. Imagine the chaos. Imagine how many people would have such a bad morning because they didn't have their coffee. There's a lot of things would go wrong if we all waited for motivation. So you have to build a very deep sense of discipline in you so that you show up despite how you're feeling. Motivation sometimes is very misleading because it takes time to come. And the moment you lean more on motivation, you might be slowing down on so many areas of your life. So motivation really is good, but discipline over motivation. Show up even when you're not motivated. Motivation somehow finds you along the way, because when you commit to doing something and you start seeing the results of it, then in turn that thing motivates you to keep showing up. So discipline over motivation any day, anytime. I don't want to make a mistake. The biggest lie that anyone can tell you is that they have been sure of every step they've taken to build maybe a business from the start. People are doing a whole lot of guesswork out here, guys, and you should not be left behind. Don't be afraid to make a mistake, because it's through those mistakes you learn. You build on them to get the next level. Everyone is doing guesswork, only that now they have done it so many times, they know what to expect, they know what to avoid, but they had to start somewhere. So you too should start doing something that you love. Don't be scared about the mistakes that you make, because those will be the building blocks or the steps for you to build something beautiful out of that experience. Those are the excuses I had. I don't know if I've left anything out, but you feel free to type that on the comment section and let us know, what other excuses do people give, that hold them back from taking actions. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and see you in the next one. Bye.